Officers stood in the parking lot of a student apartment complex in Kalamazoo trying to make sense of the strange disappearance of 24-year-old student Ania Mack. No one had been able to reach her for several days. Her car was sitting in the parking lot without license plates. Nearby was another nearly identical Chevrolet Malibu displaying her plates. The lights were on inside her apartment, the television was still running, the bathtub was filled with water, a load of men's clothes was spinning in the washing machine. But Ania herself was nowhere to be found. Her friends were convinced she would never have disappeared voluntarily. Police searched the apartment, spoke with people who knew her, and tried to locate her boyfriend, Donovan Lewis. They came up empty-handed. Then, late that night, as officers were preparing to continue the search, a man with a backpack slung over his shoulder emerged from the darkness and walked toward them. It was Donovan. The officers asked him a few questions about Ania. What he told them was nothing like what they expected to hear. Within minutes, what had started as a possible missing person case turned into a homicide investigation. Donovan then began telling a story about an argument, messages on a cell phone, a married pastor, and the events he claimed had unfolded inside the apartment that Sunday. And the more he talked, the more disturbing the picture became of what had really happened to Ania Mack. Hey guys, let me grab you for just a second. I'm really curious where my audience is watching from, so I'd love for you to drop a comment and tell me what city you're in and what time it is for you right now. Thanks for taking a moment. Go ahead and share that in the comments. And now let's keep going. During the early morning hours of Thursday, June 28, 2018, officers with the Kalamazoo Police Department responded to a call at Hunter Ridge Apartments in western Michigan. The complex consisted of a multi-story building with numerous apartments and a parking lot. It was used as off-campus housing, and all of its residents were local college students. Officers arrived there to look for 24-year-old Ania Mack, a psychology student at Western Michigan University. No one had heard from Ania since the previous Sunday. Nia, as her friends and family called her, was an extremely outgoing person who was always active and involved in a wide variety of activities. In school, she was an honor student, served on the student council, participated in the Health Occupations Association, performed in both the marching band and concert band, competed as a varsity cheerleader, and also played volleyball and softball. While attending college, she continued singing in her church choir and danced with a women's dance team at WMU. For Ania, it was completely out of character to go out of contact with so many friends for even a few hours, let alone several days. Her close friend LaQuenta Watson contacted the Kalamazoo Police Department. She explained that she normally spoke with Ania every day, and when she had been unable to reach her for several days, she began to fear that something was wrong. Every phone call went straight to voicemail. Her concern grew even stronger when she visited Ania's new workplace, the Great Lakes Alternative Research Center, where she worked with children who have autism. There, she learned that Ania had already missed 2 consecutive days of work. She had started the position only 3 months earlier and had been incredibly excited about the opportunity. There was simply no way she would have intentionally missed work unless something serious had happened. Childhood friend Dominic Thomas met with police outside the apartment complex after speaking with Ania's mother, Loretta, who lived in Louisiana, as well as with LaQuenta. All 3 of them were becoming increasingly worried because they had been unable to reach her.
It's unlikely to just not answer the phone, it sounds like. If anything is going on, I'm like pretty much the only person that she has here besides her family. But like me and her, we have been best friends for 24. I'm only 24, but we have been best friends our entire being, basically.
I got friends like that.
And it's driving me real crazy that if anything was going on, she would call me. If nobody, she would call me. I know for a fact.
Does she have any medical issues?
No.
No psychological orders.
Did she take any medication for anything?
As of right now, not to my knowledge. We do inhale when she needed.
Did she ever have any drug abuse issues?
No.
I mean, I'm not talking marijuana. That's almost legal. Like harder stuff than that.
Police learned that Ania owned a white 2008 Chevrolet Malibu. They spotted it in the parking lot without any license plates attached. Not far away was another nearly identical vehicle. That second Malibu was displaying Ania's license plates, but the car itself was registered to a man named Gustavo. Both vehicles had 2 flat tires and appeared to be undrivable. The lights were on inside Ania's apartment, and it sounded like the television was still running, but no one answered when officers knocked on the door.
It's that roommate's room with the TV flashing.
So it looks like somebody is home.
Maybe not. He's working on getting a phone number for a roommate right now.
6-1. Did you hear what I found out about the plates? Her car, her Malibu over in the corner, the plate's missing off of it. I found it on another Malibu, a couple spots down. It's not registered to her, which is kind of strange.
Somebody swapped the plates on the cars?
Yeah. There's a white Malibu that comes back to her by the VIN. No plate. The plate that belongs on it is on another Malibu. A few spots down, another white Malibu. Somebody else's name.
Gustavo fellow?
Yeah.
Hi, is this Cora? Cora, this is Ania's best friend. Are you at home? Ania has been missing for 2 days, to my understanding. I drove all the way here from Muskegon because yes, because the police are here as well.
Is she up there?
She's coming here. Okay, thank you.
Dominic told officers that Ania had experienced some problems in the past with her boyfriend, 25-year-old Donovan Lewis. Donovan, or Donnie as his friends called him, was a former student at a local college. He had been a basketball player and also worked as a lifeguard at the YMCA. He had recently returned to Kalamazoo after spending a short time with his brother in Indianapolis, where he was completing an internship with a multimedia company. After coming back to Michigan, Donovan took whatever work he could find. For the past week and a half, he had been working the night shift as a janitor at a large local manufacturing facility.
Have there been any issues with them that you know of?
Yeah. There's been several occasions that they went back and forth and had arguments. I know one time the police was called.
Say they ever escalate the violence, really?
He threw water on her several times. He took off in her car when she came out. She was getting ready to talk to him. He rolled her arm up in the window like to drag her down the street.
When Cora arrived to let the search team into the apartment, she told officers Lockett and Lebret that it was not unusual for her and Ania to go several days without seeing each other. The two had been assigned as roommates less than a year earlier through a housing placement process managed by the Student Housing Administration.
When's the last time you were here before?
This morning I came back from work around like 6 and I went to the movies and I came back here.
When's the last time you saw her?
Not before Saturday. I left home for graduation. I graduated Saturday.
You come in.
And then this is her room right here. But someone was here today because they turned on the air and they put some clothes in the washer. So when I was gone, like I thought maybe she came. But
Have you seen her boyfriend around here?
I haven't seen anybody, honestly. But I left for the weekend, so I thought maybe she just went home. But I really haven't seen her.
Nothing looks out of the ordinary in here. Obviously, boyfriend probably this
Let's say, Libretto, go check boyfriend's mom's place. Do we have a number, phone number for boyfriend?
I don't know if there's roommate. Probably one in the eyelids too, or from him.
Yeah, let's check with the roommate, see if maybe he's got something.
Okay. Like if she was going somewhere, she would definitely pack her makeup. That's here. This looks like what would be her purse. A bag that she do her hair stuff with. That's here. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck?
There was no sign of Ania anywhere inside the apartment. A quick search did not uncover any immediate evidence that she had been in danger, but several details stood out as unusual. The bathroom Ania used was filled with water. as if she had drawn a bath but never actually gotten in.
Can you ask her to use the bathtub in here? Hey, Jerry.
What's up?
Can you ask her if she uses the bathtub? It's like full of water.
As Core pointed out, someone other than her had recently been inside the apartment. Someone had turned on the air conditioner and started a load of laundry. Inside the washing machine were men's clothes, along with 2 turquoise bathroom rugs. There were no matching rugs in the bathroom that Ania used.
Yeah, somebody definitely came in today for sure. Because when I left, the air wasn't on.
Does her boyfriend ever come over here and do any laundry or anything?
Yeah, they always do laundry together.
Okay.
So it's not like out of the ordinary.
Does he have a key?
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody was here because I don't think he has a key. Usually if he's coming, like I'll leave the door unlocked. Like if I know he's here, or like she'll leave the door unlocked.
I don't even see her keys.
Many of Ania's personal belongings were still in her bedroom, including items she would normally have taken with her if she had gone on a trip. The situation involving the 2 Malibu vehicles also remained unexplained. Neither car appeared to be in condition to drive. If Ania had left the apartment voluntarily, the obvious question was how she had gotten anywhere.
I think it's just a little fishy. He's the only person we haven't talked to.
Yeah, but why? She's gonna end up calling in the morning.
I hope so. Where the hell's she been at though? Both of her cars are here. Boyfriend has no car. Her best friend, her parents, her god sister, her pastor. She's been at work.
And from what other people have said, has the boyfriend been around her the last couple of days?
Well, he claims he hasn't seen her since Sunday either.
What about talking with her?
Yeah, I need to get that from him.
Yeah, so she's been missing since Sunday?
Yeah, that's the last time I saw her.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The officers left the apartment with mixed impressions about the seriousness of the situation. They had found no clear signs of a crime, but many of the circumstances simply did not seem right.
Do you think this is an actual? Like an actual missing person?
Well, nobody knows where she's at right now. She's missing.
Like, okay, well, I mean,
Do I think that she's endangered? No. Absolutely not.
Okay.
We've got nothing to lead us to believe that she's endangered other than the fact that boyfriend was an asshole at one point.
Is that just a dispute that you were talking about, or like a DV?
DV, but they didn't find it.
It was, I don't know. There's still somebody coming and going from the apartment. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
But like roommate hasn't seen her in almost a week. Doesn't think anything of it.
Police were unable to make contact with Donovan Lewis. Everything they knew about him came from Ania's friends who had been communicating with him. Both Dominic and LaQuinta told officers that Donovan had also been trying unsuccessfully to reach Ania since Sunday. Officer LeBret located the address of Donovan's mother's home, and officers later went there to look for him. However, no one answered the door. After the unsuccessful attempt to find Donovan at his mother's house, Ania's close friend and godsister, Lawenda, contacted Officer Lockett again. This time, she said she knew where Donovan was. He was finishing his shift as a janitor at Stryker, a company that manufactures medical equipment. According to the information she provided, he was expected to return to Ania's apartment at 3:30 in the morning. Later that same night, officers Aday and Lockett returned to Hunter Ridge Apartments to find him. By then, Core and Dominic had already left. Once again, no one answered when the officers knocked on the door.
I guess we'll wait outside for a little bit, see if he shows up. I just feel like you'd be a little bit more concerned if your girlfriend's missing, don't you think? That's the one person who hasn't talked to us at all yet. So this is the other thing I thought was weird, but I think it's just plate fraud. That down here, the white car is actually hers, but they're both on flats. So those cars have not moved recently.
What the fuck?
I know, this is a weird one, I'm telling you.
person that you're talking to? What is that?
That's her god sister, like her other best female friend.
She thinks the guy's shady.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I tried to speak to mom. I gotta call mom back. Apparently, she just called me back. Her other male best friend, who I think he's, on the other side of the fence, he hasn't seen her, heard from her. Her roommate hasn't seen her, heard from her since Friday because she was out of town all weekend.
What about, you got any friends for this suspect? The boy?
We haven't got that far yet to get into his friends.
Yeah. I feel like this should almost just be detectives.
Yeah. I definitely think this is detective worthy, like now, because I think something fishy is going on here.
Damn, dude.
Something fishy. There could be nothing. Maybe she's out with a new boyfriend, but why would she completely cut off everybody, all her best friends?
The officers were standing beside their patrol vehicle discussing their concerns about the case when events suddenly took an unexpected turn. Out of the darkness, a man approached them wearing a black t-shirt, khaki shorts, and a backpack slung over his shoulder.
What's going on, sir?
Take me here and we talk about it on the way.
Just tell me now.
I killed my girlfriend.
6160. Can you come to the apartment, please? Where is she? We're out with boyfriend. He's reporting at 10:35. Where is she?
Silver Creek.
Where at?
He's married. Dispatch.
You got any weapons on you, Don?
I don't have anything. So.
You get pat down. Alright, I gotta read some stuff to you real quick, okay? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you before or during any questioning. If you want a lawyer but cannot afford it, tell me from the beginning what's going on.
I'm in Indianapolis. I left her alone. She couldn't pay rent.
Hey, give me 1 second, okay? 612.
She text me the hair car note. So, my understanding.
That's if you record my last traffic. We got my custody.
Fantastic. When I got back in town about a week ago, or 3 weeks ago, on the 16th, I found out, I went to her phone, and I found out they were messing around. I tried to get over it. I told her it's okay, I understand what you did, I respect that you took care of yourself. We moved forward, and we had a great couple weeks. And recently, Sunday, we had an argument about, because I just moved back, so I don't have a job, I don't have the money. The week before, Sunday, or maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, she told me, you're not doing enough. I told her I could call my dad, ask for some help, whatever, and she just basically bashed me and told me I wasn't shit, told me everything about me.
Alright.
Sunday came.
Let's have a seat in the back of my car real quick, man. Yep. Okay, sit tight, okay? So he's straight up admitted to it, everything. He said she's out in the river on the east side of the city somewhere.
East side of the city?
Yeah. Like, what did he say, like East Maine or something? He told me, he knows. He didn't tell me that much yet. He hadn't gotten that far.
Okay.
However, Donovan was willing to keep talking. The officers preferred to wait for detectives before questioning him any further. As he was being formally taken into custody and placed in a patrol vehicle, he continued sharing details in fragments. By the time Officer Lebret returned to the scene, the case that had been treated as a possible missing person investigation just minutes earlier had already become a homicide investigation.
Is she in the truck one of these cars?
No. He told us that he's the creeks around the east side. So we're thinking maybe on the east side of town. Is there?
In the creek?
In a creek.
Okay. Well, that took a twist.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that way at all.
At that point, Officer Lockett became the primary point of contact in the case. He transported Donovan to the police station and kept up a casual conversation with him while they waited for detectives to arrive.
If he chooses to spontaneously utter things after the fact, then that's him. Okay? You've already told him twice now. And then, you don't want to talk, you don't have to talk, those kind of things. Okay? When you go back in, move his chair to the other side of the table. Okay. Okay? And just tell him, I don't want you in that corner. I'd like you closer to me. My sergeant's going to know all about safety.
So stay where I'm at.
Stay where you're at. Put him over in that little corner so we can see him. Okay. But other than that, doing great, man. Just keep up with the small talk.
During his conversation with Donovan, Officer Lockett heard several unexpected allegations. The 25-year-old told him that after looking through his girlfriend's phone, he had found intimate messages from her pastor. He was convinced that the two were involved in either a romantic or sexual relationship. Donovan also claimed that Ania had allegedly been blackmailing the pastor because of financial difficulties. According to him, while he was out of state, the pastor had been paying her rent, covering her phone bills, and had even provided her with a second Malibu.
What's been going on?
Just had a rough week. Last week, the car had the pastor behind her. Back tire went flat.
Oh, is that what happened?
It was a slow week, so you had to keep refilling it and refilling it. And on Sunday, when we were on my family lighthouse, she wanted to go to church. She went outside, and the front tire was flat.
Think somebody's doing it? You think the car's just old and the tires are bad, or what?
I don't know. I found out that whatever she got going on with the pastor.
Oh.
And when she got the car, she told me the mechanic came to pick her up, and she told me, she got a new car, we got a loaner car from the church. And recently she told me, after I kind of gave her, I told her I want to have a sit down with her, because he ended up picking her up and apparently he threatened her.
The pastor threatened her? Over the car, or why?
Because she was using them. She told him she would tell. And he said, you can't do this to me.
How was he using her? Like they had a relationship or something going on, you mean?
I went through her phone.
Who's her pastor? Which church she goes to?
Second Baptist, right there by the bus station.
Okay.
Pastor Stewart.
That Sunday, an argument erupted inside Ania's apartment. What began as another conflict between two people quickly escalated into a serious confrontation. Tension that had been building for a long time finally reached a breaking point that day. The atmosphere inside the apartment was strained, and the grievances and resentment on both sides only made the situation worse. One of the ongoing sources of tension was Ania's relationship with Pastor Strickland of Second Baptist Church. That subject had repeatedly become a source of suspicion and arguments. According to people connected to the case, issues involving the pastor frequently led to emotional conversations and misunderstandings. Over time, they became one of the major sources of strain in the relationship. The pastor, who was married, also served as the local president of the NAACP. He was a well-known and respected figure in the community. His influence extended far beyond his role in the church, and his name was familiar to many people throughout the area. Because of that, Any mention of him tended to attract attention both among church members and within the broader community. Ania had started attending his church earlier that year. She became involved in the church community and participated in its activities. As time went on, her name became increasingly connected to events that would later become part of the investigation. At the time, no one could have imagined that relationships and circumstances that began within the church community would eventually find themselves at the center of a high-profile criminal case.
To her phone. She tussled with me about her phone. She died on her phone. Kind of got in like a fetal position with all her knees in her hands and saw that it was a pastor and saw what he said. And she kind of just gave up. And gave the phone. And the whole time she laughed. Grinning. When she gave the phone, she was grinning and laughing. Because okay, if I do make that accusation, she could have that reaction that she had. Just to think about that after we find out it's fucked up.
After detectives arrived, Donovan Lewis provided a full written confession to the killing. His statement became one of the key documents in the case. In it, he laid out his version of events in detail, beginning with the circumstances he claimed led up to the tragedy and ending with what he said happened after Ania's death. In his statement, he wrote that the tires on Ania's Malibu were constantly being flattened. According to him, the problem happened repeatedly and created serious difficulties for her. The situation became so frequent that it required ongoing repairs and additional expenses. He claimed that Pastor Strickland paid for those repairs on at least one occasion. Donovan said this was one of the factors that fueled his growing suspicions about the nature of the relationship between Ania and the pastor. After that, Strickland allegedly offered her the use of a second Malibu, which he claimed belonged to him. However, that vehicle did not solve the problem permanently. According to Donovan, the car was given to Ania for daily use after issues with her original vehicle became more frequent. Eventually, that car also began experiencing problems with flat tires and ultimately became unusable as well. Donovan claimed the same pattern seemed to repeat itself. As a result, that vehicle also stopped being a reliable means of transportation. According to Donovan, the pastor began stopping by Ania's apartment more and more often to pick her up. He said those visits became increasingly frequent, which only deepened his suspicions about their relationship. Earlier that year, Ania had also traveled to Mississippi with the pastor and other members of the church choir. The trip was fully paid for. Donovan said that trip was another reason he began paying closer attention to the interactions between Ania and the pastor. He claimed that Ania admitted to him that she was using the relationship as leverage. According to Donovan, she allegedly discussed this with him during private conversations. He further claimed that she threatened to reveal the relationship to the pastor's wife and to other people. Donovan also alleged that Strickland responded by making threats toward Ania. He claimed the tension between them continued to grow and that the situation became increasingly hostile. Around the same time he provided her with the Malibu, Donovan said Ania told him the pastor had made it clear that he was willing to harm her. According to Donovan, those words made a lasting impression on him and stayed in his memory. That Sunday, Donovan had been drinking alcohol. Ania was drawing a bath. He claimed that he was intoxicated and exhausted from lack of sleep after spending the entire night going through her phone. According to him, he had barely rested and was under intense emotional stress. He said that certain messages from Pastor Strickland particularly enraged him. Those messages, he later explained, triggered the strongest reaction. An argument broke out between them. It began as a verbal dispute, but the tension escalated quickly and emotions intensified. During the confrontation, Ania told him that she wanted him out of her life for good. She pulled out one of his suitcases and began packing his belongings into it. According to Donovan, that moment became the turning point of the argument and pushed the situation to its most intense point. He stated that this was when he struck her and rendered her unconscious. He then admitted that he went into the kitchen, took a large knife, returned to the bedroom, cut her throat, and stabbed her multiple times. During questioning, he acknowledged that those actions caused her death. He also admitted that afterward, he pulled a trash bag over her head and placed her body inside the suitcase. According to his statement, that was the next step he took after the killing. He carried the suitcase to a dumpster near the guest parking area, where it remained for a period of time until he returned for it the following day. The next night, after dark, he came back in his mother's minivan. He drove to Comstock Creek on East Main near Sprinkle Road. According to his statement, he had chosen the location in advance and went there after nightfall. There, he left Ania in a deep section of the creek, weighing the suitcase down with mud and debris so it would sink to the bottom. That is how he described his actions in the written confession that later became a significant part of the criminal case file. One of Ania's friends later recalled,
into a room and it's Naya, like all eyes are on Naya. Like it's just always been like that. She was supposed to start summer school yesterday and it's just like heartbreaking to hear like how it happened. She didn't deserve it. She always said, if something happened to me, I don't want everybody to be sad. I don't want nobody to wear black. I want everybody to be in bright colors. Trust me, I've been crying, but that ain't what she wants. She wants us to be as happy as possible and give her the best homegoing we can.
Investigators questioned several details of Donovan's account. Although he provided his version of events and cooperated with certain aspects of the investigation, detectives did not simply accept his statements at face value. Every claim was carefully compared against the available evidence, forensic findings, and the facts established during the investigation. What concerned them most was the way the killing had allegedly taken place. That part of his story raised the greatest number of questions. Detectives wanted to determine whether the attack he described was consistent with the physical evidence recovered from the apartment. During their initial search of the residence, officers did not find the large amount of blood that would normally be expected in a fatal knife attack. That immediately caught investigators' attention. Given the nature of the injuries involved, they expected to see far more evidence supporting the sequence of events Donovan described. In fact, at first, they found no obvious signs that a fatal assault had even occurred inside the apartment. On the surface, the residence did not appear to be the scene of a violent homicide. Many of the indicators investigators typically encounter in cases like this were absent, prompting them to examine every detail much more closely. However, a more thorough search revealed small but recognizable traces of blood in the hallway, on the edge of Ania's bed, and on the bedroom carpet. While the stains were limited in size, they became important pieces of evidence. For experienced forensic investigators, even seemingly minor findings can help reconstruct what happened inside a crime scene. Investigators also determined that cleaning products already present in the apartment had been used to clean certain surfaces. That discovery drew additional attention from detectives. They considered the possibility that some evidence had been intentionally removed before police arrived. Donovan had thrown away a mattress pad in a dumpster near the apartment complex. Investigators believed the item could have contained important evidence, but they were unable to locate it in time. By the time officers reached the dumpster, the trash had already been collected and removed. As a result, what may have been a significant piece of evidence was lost and could no longer be examined. He also placed the bathroom rugs in the washing machine and got rid of his clothing at his mother's house. Those actions became another part of the timeline detectives worked to reconstruct during the investigation. Ania's personal belongings, including her purse, identification, and bank cards, were discarded in a dumpster near Donovan's workplace. To investigators, those items were particularly important because personal belongings often help establish a victim's last known activities and the sequence of events following a crime. Only some of that evidence was ever recovered. Other items were lost permanently, making the investigation more difficult and limiting what could be examined later. Physical evidence was not the only part of Donovan's story detectives sought to verify. They also carefully reviewed statements from people connected to the case and examined claims that could affect their understanding of both motive and circumstance. Pastor Strickland told Kalamazoo police that Ania Mack was simply a member of his church and a participant in the church choir. According to him, there had never been any romantic relationship between them. He insisted that their interactions were strictly related to church activities and never went beyond the normal relationship between a pastor and a member of the congregation. Furthermore, during questioning, Donovan acknowledged that Ania had never directly admitted to having an affair with the pastor. He said she had only claimed to be using him for financial assistance. That detail became important to investigators because it related directly to the motives Donovan had discussed during interviews. Strickland confirmed that Ania had traveled with him to Mississippi as part of the church choir. According to him, the trip was connected to church activities and events. He said that while there, Ania met a young man she liked and began a relationship with him. The pastor claimed that because she already had a boyfriend in Kalamazoo, she kept the relationship secret. According to his account, she saved the young man's phone number under the pastor's name in her contacts in order to conceal his identity. That way, if Donovan saw the messages, he would assume they were coming from the pastor and would not suspect anything else. This was how Strickland explained the messages and contacts that later drew attention during the investigation. About a month after giving his statement, Strickland contacted police again. This time, his request was not related to the progress of the investigation, but to property that remained in law enforcement custody. He wanted to recover the white 2008 Malibu. However, a problem quickly emerged. He was unable to properly prove ownership of the vehicle. The lack of documentation immediately complicated the process and raised additional questions. Strickland stated that the car belonged to his wife, Jasmine. He claimed that he had purchased it from a man named Gustavo, but he had neither the vehicle title nor a bill of sale. Without documentation to support his claim, investigators could not establish legal ownership in a manner that would allow the vehicle to be returned.
Hello, I'm looking to speak with Pastor Strickland.
This is he.
Hi there, this is Sergeant Charles Trepp at Kalamazoo Public Safety. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, sir?
Not too bad, sir. I got a voicemail message from Chief Boyce saying that you had some questions about an automobile.
Yes, sir. One of the automobiles that was taken related to the Ania Mack murder.
Yes, sir.
One of those vehicles belonged to my wife.
Okay.
And we are trying to recover it. We had actually misplaced the title prior to going out of town.
Okay.
And Anaya had reached out to us while we were out of town and told us that she had found the title.
Okay.
And that the title was supposed to be in the console, which I had looked in the console, I know 20 times. But anyway, she said that the title was folded up really small. So I'm thinking that this is going to be the car that you all find. It's the one that doesn't have any tinted windows or any rims on it. It's just factory.
Okay.
And in the console, you should find, I'm hoping that she didn't take it out or put it anywhere. You should find the title in the console. Like I said, I don't know how much information that the guy had filled out on the title because he gave me like a bill of sale, which had all the information on it.
Yes.
But I misplaced that and the title.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
In the end, ownership of the vehicle was never proven, and the car was not returned to the pastor. Despite his efforts to recover the vehicle, the question of legal ownership remained unresolved. Because there was not enough evidence to establish that the car belonged to him, it was never released back to the pastor. The dispute became yet another consequence of the events that had drawn law enforcement attention to his activities. Before long, however, that became the least of his concerns. Events began moving in a far more serious direction. New allegations that later surfaced carried much greater consequences and threatened to completely change his situation. Later that same year, 3 teenagers from his church accused him of sexual abuse. Their allegations led to a separate investigation and attracted significant attention from both law enforcement and the local community. The accusations involved incidents that, according to the alleged victims, had taken place over a period of time in circumstances where the pastor held authority and influence. Both the pastor and his wife were accused of using their positions within the church and the local school to pressure teenagers into sexual activity. Investigators examined claims that their social standing and the trust they had built among young people and members of the community may have been used to exert influence over minors. Those allegations became one of the central focuses of the investigation. One of the alleged victims said he felt unable to refuse the pastor because he depended on a vehicle the pastor had provided for his use. According to his statement, that dependence created significant pressure and greatly affected his ability to make decisions freely. He explained that this was why, in his view, he found himself in a situation where he did not feel capable of saying no to someone who held considerable influence over him.
Pastor Strickland is here. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's been here throughout this. He remains pastor at Second Baptist.
3 different things: banging teens for sex, CSC, and pandering. Can Mr. Strickland or did someone respond as
No, and no. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. Didn't do it, didn't do it, didn't do it.
But given your role at the church, is it typical for you to give teens, boys in the community money?
Well, there are a lot of programs through the church that help kids out.
But does Pastor Strickland personally give kids money himself?
I don't know of any situation where that has happened.
The Michigan State Police investigation determined that the alleged crimes took place between January and May of 2018. After reviewing the evidence, witness statements, and digital records, investigators identified that period as the key time frame in the case. Over the course of several months, law enforcement worked step by step to reconstruct the events and establish a complete picture of what had occurred. Electronic evidence played a significant role in the investigation. Text messages and photographs recovered from the victims' phones supported their accounts. Those materials became part of the evidence and allowed investigators to compare witness statements with information stored on the mobile devices. According to investigators, the content of the messages and the available photographs were consistent with the circumstances described by the alleged victims. After the major stages of the investigation were completed, the case moved closer to its legal conclusion. In February of 2023, a plea agreement was reached with prosecutors. That decision eliminated the need for a full trial on all charges and established how the case would proceed through the court system. Under the terms of the agreement, Strickland pleaded guilty to 1 count of using a motor vehicle to facilitate prostitution. After reviewing the agreement, the court issued its final ruling on the sentence. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison. With that, the criminal case came to an end through a conviction entered as part of the agreement reached between the prosecution and the defendant.
That is, during that time within the county, did you knowingly offer to sell transportation services to TH and or TJ that facilitated travel for the purpose of engaging in what would be a violation of the laws governing prostitution?
Yes.
During sentencing, the pastor continued to deny any wrongdoing, even as the legal proceedings were coming to an end and the court was preparing to issue its final decision. He did not back away from his position. Standing before the court, he insisted that he did not consider himself guilty of the offense that had been the subject of years of investigation and legal proceedings. His comments were made during one of the most significant moments of the entire case. For those in the courtroom, It was yet another indication that he continued to reject the allegations against him despite the agreement he had reached with prosecutors. He stated that he accepted the plea agreement solely for the sake of his family. According to the pastor, concern for his loved ones was the primary reason behind that decision. He said he did not want his family to endure further hardship caused by lengthy court proceedings and continued uncertainty about the future. As a result, even while the sentence was being handed down, he maintained his version of events while explaining that his decision to enter the plea agreement was motivated by a desire to protect his family.
I'm not here today to be pious and to pretend as though I am innocent and without fault. However, I am not guilty of what I was accused of. I am glad that the 10 most heinous charges were dismissed, and eventually the prosecutors, with their backs against the wall, made a deal that I believe was too good of a deal to put my family through the risk of going through a trial. And I know that they'll use their imps in the media to try to pretend that they won in some way, or that this is some win for the prosecutor's office. This is not a win for the prosecutor's office, and it's certainly not a win for the cause of justice.
Meanwhile, Donovan Lewis agreed to show Kalamazoo police the location in Comstock Creek where he said he had left Ania. This became an important development in an investigation that had already been underway for some time and involved the careful collection of evidence. For investigators, obtaining the exact location was especially significant because it could help confirm key details of the case and reconstruct the sequence of events. Accompanied by law enforcement officers, Donovan pointed out the area of Comstock Creek that he claimed he had used to leave Ania. That information directed investigators' attention to a specific location and allowed search efforts to be focused within a defined area. For Ania's family and everyone following the case, this stage served as another painful reminder of the tragic circumstances at the center of the investigation. At the same time, it gave detectives an opportunity to verify Donovan's statements and compare them with the other evidence that had already been gathered as part of the criminal case.
It's a little bit sloped right there. Now, Donovan, did you have her on this side of the guardrail first? In a suitcase, or did you bring her all the way down here?
All the way down.
All the way down here? Okay, so you wheel her in the suitcase all the way down here? Okay. And you park back up by where the SUV is? And how do you where the white truck is? 10 feet that way. And how do you get her in the water? You just threw her in the suitcase into the water. Okay, and this is the right spot? Okay, where do you want these guys to go? Straight. Straight down?
Switch sides so the sun's not in my
Sure, no problem. Yeah.
Donovan was a strong swimmer. That fact drew investigators' attention during the investigation because it could help explain some of his actions after the crime. Unlike most people, he was comfortable in the water and possessed the skills necessary to move through difficult conditions, even at night. After analyzing the available evidence, investigators concluded that he had dragged the suitcase much farther into the creek toward a deeper section filled with mud and sediment. In their view, the suitcase did not end up there by accident. Its location suggested that it had been deliberately moved as far from the shoreline as possible into an area where it would be much harder to discover. The muddy bottom, murky water, and challenging terrain created additional obstacles for anyone searching the area. Because of the depth of the water, search crews could not safely reach the location on foot and were forced to use a rescue boat instead. Conditions in that part of the creek proved too difficult for a standard ground search. The water became deeper, and the creek bed was unstable and heavily covered in mud. As a result, investigators brought in a boat that allowed them to reach the hard-to-access area and carefully search the location where they believe the suitcase might be.
Left. We're on camera, guys. Here we.
Yep, we're on camera.
Where are we headed? In there.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get in there. Okay, we're on camera.
Got a body cam
We're on
going,
camera.
All right. Well. What are we gonna be able to get this thing back there, Terry? No. We're looking to try to somehow get the rope, and you guys, and then you're gonna try to get her out.
Yep.
Here's a rope bag. Tie that off on the boat.
Yeah. Oh, I could probably
There.
rope.
At 0920 hours, we have connected to the suitcase evidence.
All right. Would you want to get it closer? Yeah.
You guys open confirm already?
Yeah.
Was that recorded?
Yeah, that's recorded. Yep. It just buzzed, but it was just a 4-minute buzz or whatever.
Okay.
Now, when we get out, do we want to anchor that off in the back so we're not backing up upstream? Did it stick?
Which way turn around?
I think all the way out, and then probably hand the rope back to someone in the back.
Yep. I'll tie off.
All right. We're almost back out in the stream.
See, that tag is loose sitting on top of there. Just keep going back a
It's
little
just
bit.
laying there.
Tag? What tag?
The luggage tag?
Luggage tag.
Oh, okay. Okay.
John, you want to pass?
Yep. Can you get that, Mark? You got it? And then let me.
After recovering the suitcase, investigators continued searching for the murder weapon, a large kitchen knife with a black handle. Donovan claimed that he had stuck the knife into the bank of the creek near the location where he left the suitcase. Despite clearing a substantial amount of vegetation and conducting an extensive search of the area, investigators were unable to locate the knife. However, the primary objective of the operation had been achieved. Annia's family was finally able to bring her home and lay her to rest.
Giving to other people, being about other people, was her legacy and is her legacy. And that's what we want people to focus on.
We got a lot of love for everybody. Yeah. Oh, God.
Naya was a person about other people. Naya was about, mental health awareness. She was about autism research. She loved kids.
3 days before he was scheduled to stand trial on a charge of first-degree murder, Donovan Lewis was in the recreation yard at the Kalamazoo County Jail. He was playing football with several other inmates. After about 30 minutes, he suddenly dropped the ball and sprinted toward the perimeter fence. Donovan climbed over 2 15-foot walls, cleared a fence topped with barbed wire, then crossed another barrier lined with razor wire, and finally scaled a third fence that separated the jail grounds from Business Loop Interstate 94. He was captured a little more than 30 minutes later.
Again, it appears that he was able to just find a spot and get over it without injuring himself. The first level is a barbed wire fence, and the second level is razor wire. The person in custody was able to get over both of those. Then they went over the barbed wire fence that contains the Business Loop of I-94, and the jail jumpsuit was found approximately 100 yards south of that spot.
Donovan's jail uniform was found approximately 100 meters from the point where he escaped. That discovery became one of the first clues investigators used to reconstruct what happened after he fled. The short distance suggested that part of his plan had been carried out almost immediately after the escape. Later, Donovan claimed that he had not been trying to avoid punishment for the killing. According to him, the real reason he escaped was concern for his family's safety. He said he had received death threats and believed that his loved ones could be in danger. However, no evidence was ever presented to support those claims. Investigators found no information that could verify his statements or indicate the existence of a genuine threat. As a result, those allegations remained only his version of events. Eventually, Donovan also pleaded guilty to the escape charge. That decision eliminated the need for a lengthy separate trial related to the incident and brought another criminal case connected to him to a close. Meanwhile, Annia's family continued to live with the consequences of the tragedy. her loved ones did not want to endure the additional emotional trauma that a full murder trial would inevitably bring. For them, it would have meant revisiting painful memories, sitting through hours of testimony, and once again facing public discussion of the details of the case. For that reason, near the end of 2018, prosecutors offered Donovan Lewis a plea agreement on a charge of second-degree murder.
I can't imagine the hurt that I've caused. I don't even know the beginning. I just want to say sorry to the family. That's all.
When I sentence you, Mr. Lewis, I balance the principles of punishment, rehabilitation, protection of society, as well as deterrence. Particularly, you being cooperative, taking full responsibility, not minimizing your role in this, and expressing a level of remorse, a decent education. There are a lot of good things here that you had developed over your life, Mr. Lewis, and you threw all of that out the window back on June 24th. Nyamak didn't deserve any of these things. She didn't deserve to be hit to begin with. She didn't deserve to be put unconscious. She didn't deserve to be stabbed and murdered. And her body didn't deserve to be treated less than garbage. And all of that happened because of you, nobody else.
Donovan Lewis was sentenced to a prison term of 25 to 40 years. For him, the sentence meant decades behind bars and the effective end of the life he had known before his arrest. The court found him guilty, and the sentence marked the conclusion of one of the most significant chapters of the criminal case. It was a decision that followed months of investigation, legal proceedings, and intense scrutiny of the events surrounding Annia's death. However, his legal troubles did not end there. For his escape from jail, he received an additional sentence of 17 months to 4 years in prison. That separate conviction increased the amount of time he would spend in custody and served as an additional punishment for attempting to avoid accountability. Together, the sentences ensured that he would remain incarcerated for many years to come. Once the sentence had been announced and the courtroom proceedings came to an end, attention shifted to Annia's family. For her loved ones, the case had been a source of grief, uncertainty, and emotional pain for a long time. They had endured months of waiting, countless developments in the investigation, and repeated reminders of the tragedy that had changed their lives forever. While the verdict brought a measure of legal closure, it could not undo the loss they had suffered. After the sentencing hearing, Annia's sister was asked,
How do you feel now with the sentence?
I feel good because my sister is okay with the sentence, and so I'm okay with it.
You spoke about forgiveness, not wanting to take pain for pain, but hoping that he can live with what he's done. Can you talk about that?
Well, he have to live with it for the rest of his life. You know, whether he was sincere with what he said in the courtroom or not, he has to live with it. And I hope he can. And I meant that. I haven't forgiven him. My sister, I haven't. And in time, I'm sure I will, but not now. I'm not ready.
And talk about Anaya, because I remember when the story broke, everyone had beautiful things to say about her.
Clearly, she was one of the most loving people. She loved a monster, so that says a lot about her personality and her as a person.
I will keep your secrets. Just think of me of the pages in your diary.
The story concludes by noting that after serving his sentence, Strickland returned to life outside prison and eventually resumed his involvement in religious ministry. According to information referenced in the case materials, he now goes by the name Dr. Floyd Strickland. Under that name, he later became the pastor of Galilee Baptist Church in Mount Olive, Mississippi. This detail attracted the attention of many people who had followed the story over the years. For some members of the public, it served as another reminder of the events that once brought him into court and made him the subject of a widely discussed criminal investigation. Although the criminal case is now part of the past, the mention of his current role illustrates the path his life took after his release. Based on the available information, he is now known as Dr. Floyd Strickland, and serves as the pastor of Galilee Baptist Church in Mount Olive, Mississippi.